said Zach, you sat me down in a room and you said, who is one running back that you believe is the most undervalued in all of Dynasty right now? My answer would be, I'm bringing you more than 10 of the best buy low targets in Dynasty football right now. And here's the best part. I'll show you a couple trades that I've made for these players, and we're going to consult the community and we're going to see what the community thinks as well. You guys contributed to this one. So first player that I am buying everywhere. I mean, look, if you said, Zach, you sat me down in a room and you said, who is one running back that you believe is the most undervalued in all of Dynasty right now? My answer would be Jordan Mason. Now, if you're in my Dynasty leagues and I've been sending you trades for Jordan Mason, surprise, surprise, right? He is my RB 30 in Dynasty right now. I don't know if I'm crazy or if everyone else is crazy, because everyone else has him ranked RB 46 on the Flock site, KTC at RB 37. I think he's really undervalued. Look, he was fantastic with his starter opportunities in 2024. He got injured in week 8, if you remember. So let's look at weeks 1 to 7. In that span, out of 40 running backs in the NFL with at least 50 rushing attempts, this is where he ranked. He was 7th in yards per attempt at 5.2, had the second most rushing yards per game, was 12th in yards after contact per attempt, missed tackles forced, he was 2nd, breakaway percentage, he was top 10, he had those explosive plays, and rushes of 15 or more yards, he was 2nd, only behind the king Durka himself, Derrick Henry. And Next Gen Stats noted that from weeks 1 to 8, he actually led the league in forced missed tackle rate at 37.3%. He had a higher rate than my beloved Bucky Irving, you know, who we love so much, than Bijan Robinson, than Ken Walker. And here's the deal. He means more to the Minnesota Vikings franchise than just this backup running back tab. I mean, they went out of their way. Think about this. They went out of their way to trade for a running back when we have a class in 2025 that's about to come out that's extremely stacked. Everyone believes that. That speaks to their intentions when they go out and trade for the guy, and then they come back and pay him very well. They paid him $12 million over 2 years, $7 million fully guaranteed. That is one of the better contracts for a number 2 in the NFL. For reference, guys, everyone is projecting Najee Harris to be the starter for the Chargers right now in the industry. Well, what if I told you Jordan Mason is making the same amount of money annually as Najee Harris? In fact, the only RB2 in the NFL making more annual money is Devin Singletary, and he signed that contract last year, right? And we have to think about Aaron Jones. Yes, you know, I'm not going to sit here and project an injury, but we do have people who do that for us. Shout out to Injury Shark. There's a vast injury history for Aaron Jones. Their database projects an 87.6% chance of injury in 2025, and they project him to miss just over 3 games. Look, even if Aaron Jones stays healthy, Kevin O'Connell is talking about this backfield, and he is not saying Aaron Jones is a clear 1. No, he's saying this is a 1A, 1B. Take a listen to what he thinks.
Bring Aaron back, but Aaron Jones is at his best when we can keep him fresh. We can keep him truly as that 1A because we've got the 1B with him, and that was Jordan Mason.
Mason just fits the Vikings offensive scheme perfectly. And with Aaron Jones getting up in there in age, I mean, he'll be 31 this year. I would not be surprised if Jordan Mason ends up being a league winner in 2025. Okay, so here's some trade ideas. I'm going to show you real trades. I'm going to show you trades that I have made. So if you're looking to send away a pick for Jordan Mason, right now the market is a late 2nd, early 3rd, anywhere from like that 210, 212, 301, 303 range in the 2025 class. As far as players I would use in a trade to start a conversation, players like Tajay Spears, Jonathan Brooks, DeAndre Swift, Braylon Allen, Rashid Shaheed, Xavier Legette. Here are 2 real trades that I actually got done myself. I sent away my 412 and a future 2026 second on a contending team for Jordan Mason and a 27 third. Now, y'all know we don't like the 26 class. We've talked about that in a previous video. You can go check that out, but that's another way I'm trying to take advantage of that class. I also came back in a different league and traded for Jordan Mason, sending away Rashid Shaheed and a little kicker there, that 4th round pick. Here's some other real trades that have happened. We have a database on the Flock site where we see real active trades amongst real leagues. So these are not suggestions. These are real trades that have happened today. Jordan Mason, someone got him for the 302. Someone got him for the 312 and the 305. Someone sent the 212 for him. So all of these deals are possible in a lot of leagues. All right, number 2. We're talking about a lot of Bears lately, but I just think that entire offense is a buy low right now. I'm talking DJ Moore. Did the DJ Moore, my wide receiver 18, about 5 spots higher than the industry. We talked about some of these same themes I'm going to talk about in our breakouts video for Rome Odunze, but they obviously apply to DJ Moore as well. So, for example, like the Bears, they clearly upgraded a lot of positions this offseason. You can talk about the offensive line. Names like Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, but by far, I'm not joking when I say this, by far the biggest upgrade to the Chicago Bears offseason was the entire coaching staff, including, more specifically, their offensive play caller. This might blow some people's minds right now, so I want you to buckle in for a second. But Shane Waldron drastically held back this wide receiver room last year. And yes, that was sarcasm. You probably already knew that. But let's look at DJ Moore with Shane Waldron as an offensive coordinator and without him. So Waldron was fired after week 10. So let's look at weeks 1 to 10 as a split, and then weeks 11 to 18 when he was freed from Shane Waldron. So with Shane Waldron averaging about 7.3 targets per game, that bumped up to 9.3, over 2 targets extra per game. The receptions go up, almost 3 receptions per game. The receiving yards go up. The fantasy points per game go from 11.1 to 17.3. And in those spans, he was a wide receiver 32 under Shane Waldron and the wide receiver 11 when he was freed. Free at last, right? Of this chain holding us down named Shane Waldron. And look, Shane's lack of commitment to feature a top wide receiver is well documented in this league. Ben Johnson should completely turn this passing attack around. Under Ben Johnson, in the last 3 years, the Lions have been second in passing yards per game, third in passing yards per game, and 8th in passing yards per game. The entire time he's been the OC for Detroit, they have not been lower than 8th overall in the league. And let's just look at 2024 as a comparison between these two teams. Like we said, the Lions were second in passing yards per game. Awesome. The Bears were 5th fewest. All right, 5th least in passing yards per game. Only the Giants, Eagles, Panthers, and Patriots had less yards per game in the air than the Chicago Bears. And look, there's a bigger piece of the pie here now. Keenan Allen is probably not going to come back. I mean, at the time of recording this, he's still a free agent. You know, a lot of these vets are still out there, but I don't think he's coming back. There's no indication he's coming back. And last year, Keenan Allen accounted for 23% of this team's targets. 121 targets up for grab. I do anticipate Odunze taking a bigger leap in target share as far as percentage-wise. But even with 3 top guys, DJ had a 26.6% target share on the year in 2024. So let's talk about some trade ideas here. If you got a 2025 late first, that's an idea there, the 109 to the 112 range. As far as players, I'm willing to kind of move around here. Names like Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy. I do believe Rashee Rice is going to be the focal point of that offense. Terry McLaurin, Alvin Kamara. Here are some real trades that have happened recently. Someone got DJ Moore and Diggs. They sent away Kamara in a 12-team start 10. Again, these are real trades, real leagues in our database. Someone sent away the 110 for DJ Moore. I like it. Someone got DJ Moore in the 108. They sent away Worthy, Monty, Judy in the 303. Another trade here. Someone got DJ and Sutton. They sent away Tajay, Zay Flowers, and a 4th round pick. Go get you some DJ Moore. Draft with me every night this offseason on the FastDraft app, where there are over $250,000 in prizes waiting to be won. Getting started is easy. Download the FastDraft app, use the promo code LAND at signup to get your deposit match up to $50. That is 10 free drafts on us. And when you finish your first real money contest, I'll send you my 2025 rookie report and season rankings completely free. Check out the link in the pinned comment to start drafting today. This next take is actually 2 players in one. All right. We're talking about Mark Andrews and Evan Ingram. We're going to talk about both of these guys. Let's start with Mark Andrews. Okay. Here's the deal. Mark was recovering from an incredibly serious injury to his fibula. In fact, he fractured his fibula the previous year, and he really only hit his stride from week 6 onwards. And if you guys remember, the most recent fantasy player to break their fibula was 2 years ago, and that was Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard had that same injury, and he himself said he didn't feel like himself again until week 11 of the following season. And to be fair, we really didn't see Tony Pollard kind of be himself again until the year after that when he joined the Tennessee Titans. You can actually see Mark's production really correlated here between the recovery time. So from weeks 1 to 5 versus weeks 6 to 18, from week 6 onwards, he really hit his stride. You'll see a huge bump in targets from 2.8 to 4.6. The receptions go up. The receiving yards are similar. What really changed is he became their focal point in the red zone, right? From 0 receiving touchdowns per game to almost 1 receiving touchdown per game from week 6 onwards. His fantasy points per game go up about 10 fantasy points per game in that span, and he was a tight end 30 in weeks 1 to 5 and the tight end 5 from weeks 6 to 18. So yes, you're probably never going to get a top 3, top 2 elite season from Mark, but he still can produce for your dynasty teams right now. And Harbaugh all but confirmed he will be a Raven in 2025. Listen to what he had to say on Mark Andrews.
Mark's in a good place. He's working really hard. I do fully expect him to be playing for us next year. He's just too good a player.
So if you're going to trade for him, it's kind of like a late second in 2025 type of range, the 208 to the 212. Here are some real trades that have happened in real leagues. You see someone sent away the 207 for Mark Andrews. In another league, someone got Andrews and the 208. They sent away Tyler Conklin and the 202, so a simple pick swap. But definitely go see how cheap Mark Andrews is in your leagues. As far as Evan Ingram, another cheap tight end that you can go acquire. Evan Ingram is a target earner. In the last 2 years, he has been top 5 in targets per game at 7.1 and at 8.4 targets per game. And Denver desperately, guys, when I say desperately, I mean desperately needs tight end production. You don't believe me? Check this out, guys. All right, so here's the Broncos tight end 1, their targets per game in the past couple years. So Lucas Kroll, everyone knows Lucas Kroll, right? Household name. He was their tight end 1 in 2024. He averaged 1.8 targets per game. That was 50th amongst tight ends this year. In 2023, it was Adam Troutman, 2.1 targets per game. That was 44th. And then in 2022, Greg Dulcich at 5.5. Sean Payton wasn't even there. You look at the target share percentage numbers in these last 2 years, it's kind of mind-boggling. 4.2% target share for the tight end 1 for this team last year, 7.3% the year before. Sean Payton has been preaching that he wants somebody to play his Joker role, but he hasn't had anyone really to do it. And look, I don't know if that's going to be Evan Ingram, but it sure sounds like Evan Ingram himself is ready to play the part. He put out this tweet, and it was literally just the Joker from the Batman movies, right? Head out the window, right? We're the best Joker of all time. You can't convince me there's a better Joker of all time, okay? But look, remove the tight end tag in general. This team just has no receiving options outside of Cortland Sutton, point blank, period. Guys, guess who was the second leader on this team of targets last year? Just take a guess. Pause the video, think it through, take a guess, a little trivia time. It was a running back. Yes, it was Javonte Williams who was second on this team in targets. He had 70 targets, all right? The second wide receiver on this team in targets was Devon Vele, who had about a 10% target share. This team is desperately needing a target earner, Evan Ingram, to step in and make an impact. So if you're going to send away a pick, it's like late second, early third range. I think you could probably send away the 301, 302 in a lot of leagues and get him, but it depends on your league. Obviously, I can't speak for all leagues. Players you can send away, names like Tank Dell, Rashid Shaheed, Tajay Spears, DeAndre Swift, Braylon Allen, Marvin Mims, Jonnu Smith you could also kind of manage. Here are some real trades that people have done in real leagues. Someone got Evan Ingram. They sent away Hollywood Brown in the 312. Love it. Someone sent the 301 for Evan Ingram. I love it. A contender, I assume, sent away a 2026 second round for Evan Ingram. I'm willing to do that, again, as long as you know you're contending. All right, let's talk about Davante Adams. I think Davante Adams is like one of the easiest no-brainer buy lows for veterans in the market this offseason. I've talked about CMC before on this channel. Love him as a buy low as well. But Davante Adams, man, I mean, here's the deal. There are really 2 questions we should be asking ourselves when we're evaluating him in Dynasty right now. Number 1, does he still have it? Does he have it? We'll define it, I guess. Number 2, is he in an environment to produce? Well, let's talk about that first one. Does he have it? Clearly, 2025 Davante Adams is not going to be the same as 2021 Davante Adams. Clearly. But I believe there's absolutely more than enough left in the tank here to produce. Let's have a look at his 2024 reception perception profile, as it's really the best indicator of his current abilities, as it isn't reliant on quarterback play. So you'll see his success by route tree here. He is still getting open at an extremely high rate on a multitude of different routes. We love to see that. However, if you look at his route percentage, he has far more slot-centric routes in his game this year. And I think that's likely because he spent a career high percentage of his snaps in the slot after being traded to the Jets. This year, he had 46.4% of his snaps. This year, he had 46.4% of his snaps coming out of the slot. By far a career high. Like, look at this chart. It's crazy how that it's a clear indication of where the Jets wanted to use him. And a career low, 53.4% of snaps coming out wide. And it makes sense because he joined a team in New York that had a young, true outside X in Garrett Wilson. And I project him to do the same thing in LA with a young Puka Nacua who's going to be playing outside. And while his success rates aren't technically elite anymore, they are still very impressive, including an 80th percentile win rate versus man coverage, 89th percentile win rate versus press. The zone is going down. That's definitely concerning. But I think out of the slot, he has more than enough in his tool bag to win. The second question is he an environment to produce? Quite frankly, guys, I can't think of a single place that he could have gone to this offseason where I would have felt better about him for fantasy football. The Rams is the perfect spot for him. I mean, this team clearly believes he's going to produce for them because, number one, they paid him a bag. All right, they paid him a big old bag. 2 years, $46 million at this age. Number two, more importantly, they felt so confident in Davante Adams, they decided to move on from their longtime Ram Hall of Famer, Cooper Kupp. Think about that. That says a lot. And Sean McVay has this vast history of producing multiple fantasy wide receivers, right? Puka and Kupp and Woods, Kupp, Woods, and Cooks, if you guys remember all those days back. And, you know, to be fair, the one thing that does concern me is I was also excited about Allen Robinson when he went to the Rams. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that take ended up being good, because it wasn't. But I just think Davante Adams is in a different phase of his career, and I am going to bet on him when they shoved all that money in his face. They did not do that with Allen Robinson. And I think they probably would have learned from their mistakes. Contending teams, you should be all in on Davante Adams this offseason. Send a mid-second round pick, the 205 to the 206 range. If you want to trade away names like Najee Harris, Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, Dalton Kincaid to get a deal done, I'm all about it. Here are some real trades that have happened. People have sent away the 208 for Davante Adams, James Conner in a fourth, Isaiah Pacheco in a fourth. Someone has gotten Davante Adams in a third, sent away the 209 and the 304. I love all those deals. So definitely think about getting those done. Here are some honorable mentions before we get to your suggestions in the community. Names like Jerome Ford. You know, Jerome Ford actually analytically had a much better season than people realized last year, and there's no running back. I think they're going to address it in the draft, but I think he's worth rostering. If you can throw like the 410 or something at someone, I would consider that. All right. Josh Jacobs. I don't know why he's constantly being undervalued each and every offseason. Last offseason, I told you to buy him. I'm going to say the same thing this year. DK Metcalf. He's getting paid around the same amount of money as Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. I think they're going to feature him. Josh Downs. I love me some Josh Downs. I've been preaching to buy him last year as well. And now that we're potentially going to get a name like Daniel Jones throwing him the ball, think about what Daniel Jones did for Wan'Dale Robinson there. Josh Downs is a far better version of Wan'Dale Robinson. All right, we're going to get to your suggestions here to finish off the video. All right. Now, I put a tweet out a couple days ago, and I asked you guys, who is the best buy low in Dynasty right now? And you guys gave me so many replies. I can't even fit all of them into today's video, so please go look at that tweet if you want to be inspired by other people's ideas. But I am going to show you some of the ones that I highlighted. Shout out to Trey Cobb, who says, Daniel Jones. I know he hasn't been fantastic as a starter, but offers rushing upside and has to show consistency in practice to best out AR. Seems like a reasonable path. And you can buy him super low if the owner wants to get rid of him and doesn't realize he could be the starter. Totally get that. I agree. I think it's very 50-50 who wins that backfield, and we have seen the rushing upside with Daniel Jones before. I like it, Trey. All right, another one here from Fantasy Football, Bowless. All right, says Khalil Shakir. He got a 4-year extension and is tied to Josh Allen. He was top 5 in yards after contact behind neighbors Chase Ceedee. He was top 2 in yards after catch, all within 15 games. If he takes a step forward, he could easily have a big old season, right? And you can obtain him for a second. I like this as well, especially if you're contending and you need a last flex spot. Alex Claus, who says Roma Dunze. You know, we talked about Roma Dunze on last week's video, so I'm with you, Alex. I agree. I think it is another JSN situation. Go buy you some Roma Dunze and some DJ Moore. Let's add DJ Moore to that list. Alex says, big boomer bust here, but I think AR-15 could be a good buy right now. His value is at an all-time low, and he's been working with the same mechanics coach that fixed Josh Allen as his first couple years were bad. If AR ends up working out, he could have major upside and return on value. I kind of like this one, guys. We were huge sellers of A-Rich last year on this channel. His price was just too high for us. This offseason, I do think he's a buy. I'm seeing him go in like the 8th, 9th, 10th round of these startups. I'm seeing people trade like a late second for him. I definitely think it's worth trying to trade for him in your leagues. All right, I'm a fan, says Pittman. The dude's been the wide receiver 15 in back-to-back seasons, and when A-Rich gets benched by game 3 and he has DJ thrown to him, I've gotten him for a late second in multiple leagues. I like some Michael Pittman. My concern is I would target Josh Downs. I think Downs is the future of this team right now, but I don't mind idea at all. Shout out to Kyle Van Cleve here, who says, it depends on the situation. I still lean heavily towards Chris Olave, 24 years old with over 1,000 yards in his first 2 seasons, 23rd all-time in yards in his first 2 seasons. KTC has him as low as 29 a few weeks ago. Yeah, I love this as well. Anytime you can buy a guy that was a great prospect that had proven production who's just waiting for a quarterback, I'm all about it. I love that. Now the issue is it's probably going to be Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler this year. All right, another one here from Joey Taranto, who says Jalen Waddle, Tyreek's getting older, and again, the past 48 hours, there have been trade rumors swirling. People are bailing out, and I think you could get him for an early second or a pair of seconds. There is injury risk with him, but when he's on the field, his metrics are great. I agree. We all know this, right? It's almost like the T. Higgins situation. When Jalen Waddle plays, you like to put him in your lineups when Tua's healthy, right? So I like it, Joey. Another one here from Adam Cook, who says Ramondre, back that has shown he can do it in the rushing and receiving game, had a bad OL last year, and was benched by a coach that no longer is there and was replaced by one who's been a run game fiend his whole career. He has contract security. He says he's taking a shot with him on a second. I have been team sell Ramondre Stevenson last year. I love Adam's take here. You guys can decide if you like it, but I'm probably still on the sell of Ramondre Stevenson train anytime you are being replaced by any coaching staff by Antonio Gibson. As a former Washington player, I watched him. That scares me, and I like this class a lot. So I love the idea, though. You're not alone there. And I brought Andres up here because he kind of agreed with you. He says, I agree with the Ramondre take. Of course, there's risk that the Patriots could draft the running back, but he says he should be fine, revamped offensive line. So again, you guys can kind of decide if you want to go out there and buy Ramondre. Hall of Fame badged out said Sam Laporta. I get that he's in a crowded offense, but he's one of the most talented tight ends in the league. Lots of people are on him. I think he's a consistent tight end one. I expect Goff to look for him more now that he's out of Ben Johnson's scheme. I do think Sam Laporta is, overvalued last year, undervalued this year, so I don't mind that take at all. Here's one from Who Dat. Says Zach Charbonnet. Perfectly capable B to Ken Walker's A, and Ken Walker is a virtual lock to miss several games a year, wherein Sharps produces like an RB1. KTC values him around a mid-second. I'm throwing that at Sharps, and I know he can ball, right? So you're basically saying, a lot of these running backs could be backups anyway. Let me get Sharps, who I know can already produce. I like that a lot. That makes sense. Meach says, personally, I'd say Keon Coleman, right? Disappointing rookie season, albeit battling through an injury. Still posted over a 3 yards per route run. I still believe he can be a goal line fade, big body red zone threat. I think this as well. And I was very anti-Keon Coleman in the draft season last year. I did not like his profile that much. But I will admit, even myself, that before that wrist injury, he was looking like he was about to take off. I like taking the shot on him with like a mid-second round pick. Last one here, I think, or how many do we have? All right, last two here. One from Akiva says, Jaden Reed. I'm not a huge fan, but he showed elite flashes in limited stretches. And that's true. Christian Watson is out for the season. We'll see what they do in the NFL draft. But I do think Jaden Reed, I agree, a very talented player. Last one here is from Andre. Says Tucker Kraft is ready to reach top 5 tight end status. He was part of a run-driven offense with a quarterback that was banged up from week 1. He was still able to show talent, explosiveness after the catch, and touchdown upside. Convinced he will be valued closer to McBride and Bowers next year. That is very bold from Andre. I do like me some Tucker Kraft, but it really depends on the price point. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was insightful. There's so many ideas that we brought in today's video. I mean, please point me towards a video in the industry right now that's giving you more trade targets. We're doing the most for you. Do me a favor, smash that like button, show some love, subscribe if you like the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Nothing but love. If you're thinking about supporting us in this economy, that's big love, and you deserve love in return. So for every yearly Mother Flocker member who uses the promo code LAND, we're giving out a free team playbook, our 2025 rookie report, access to all premium tools, free site vouchers, and of course, a huge thank you from the LAND crew. You're far too kind. That's love.